The Tie and Hoodie Show is sponsored by ICCLending.com. For real estate service, please go to ICCLending.com.
3, 2, 1.
Every human came to earth with a gift, and they must discover that gift and refine that gift for them to be fulfilled.
The prerequisite for spending time with any person is that they nourish and inspire you. They feed your flame.
Yo, hey man, how you work this radio?
You're not listening to the Tie and Hoodie Show.
Keep it locked.
Owning a home and paying it off is one of the data points of an everyday millionaire.
Home sales across the U.S. are on the rise as buyers take advantage of record low mortgage rates.
Good morning. Now let's get back to the Tie and Hoodie Show.
Good morning. It's the 93.5 K-Day. Every Sunday morning, 6:30 to 7 a.m. It's the Tie and Hoodie Show. Like I said, if you come in and you just missing pieces of this show, or you get a piece of it and you got to get out early, all our shows, this one as well as past shows, is on tieandhoodieshow.com. All these shows are sponsored by ICCLending.com, where real estate and its business is done right. I'm your host, Travon Smith, also known as Trey, with my co-host, president of ICCLending.com, and author of Credit Repair Simplified, Mr. Andrew Josikova.
How are you doing today?
It's always beautiful to catch up with you, man, on a Sunday morning.
Sunday morning.
We always got great guests, or if we don't got great guests, we got great conversation, and most of the time we have both. It's a free counseling session every Sunday morning.
Every Sunday morning, it's a free counseling session.
And the energy's always good. I always feel good about what we've done, what we get done during the show. So it's always a pleasure.
It's a privilege to do what we're doing. We don't take it for granted one bit.
No, not at all.
To be able to come out here and pour out, encouragement, to ourselves, to the people who are listening. It helps us. We're getting help by giving. And that's the way I think, it's best put it,
And it's the holiday season. A lot of people going through some good times and a lot of people going through some not so good times. But hey, we're here as long as you're healthy, above ground. You got a chance to make a better decision than you made yesterday. That's all we ask for around here on the Tie and Hoodie Show.
Absolutely. And we're grateful. Yeah, we have a guest today. I'm excited.
I've talked to this brother a couple of times. We'll talk about it through some business situations. I'm interested in hearing his story, his testimony, his personal growth. I'm gonna go. It's the Don't Be Humble show, man. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Oh man, my name's Marquel Carter. I work in sports marketing. Columbia grad, and that's kind of how I like to start it off as much as possible. But yeah, pleasure being.
I don't know if a lot of people understand what Columbia grad means.
We're in Southern California, so it's not like USC or UCLA,
Yeah. No, that's the East Coast grind, the Ivy League,
The Ivy League. A lot of people don't know about that, but I definitely want to talk a little bit about that. But I want you to just talk about a little bit of you growing up, maybe some times that you went through made you the man that you are, and how you even got to a school in the Ivy League called Columbia University. Because that's not, for the average person, they're like, oh, I can't go to the Ivy League, and they come from a minority background, but it's possible.
Right. Yeah, I can speak on that perfectly. The first time I even really heard about the Ivy League, like I heard of Harvard and Princeton, and Yale, the big three as they call it, are always talked about in movies and on TV and stuff like that. But as far as just the Ivy League as a whole, I really didn't even hear about it seriously or even think about it until high school. But just going back to the beginning, I owe everything to my mother. I'm an only child, and I grew up where it was just me and my mom. But she's such a hustler that it was ingrained in me from the jump. My mom graduated from Hampton early. She had me. She was pregnant with me her senior year. She was taking finals pregnant with me. And we moved from Virginia before I was 1 year old out to California. And kind of the story started from there. But, I went public school my whole grade school career. And so, especially coming from grade school, you're really not expecting or even thinking really about Ivy League as much. I feel like it's not pushed as much in a public school system.
Okay.
That's more of like a private school thing. Those kids are kind of already conditioned to like even be looking at those schools. But yeah, I mean, growing up, watching how hard my mom worked, that kind of just set the tone for me and became kind of my motivation and why I wanted to succeed.
Now, like I said, going to Columbia University is not something. Is that something that you found out about, like through sports, or like you just how did you going to Columbia come to existence?
So I would say in about 9th grade, I had a conversation with my head coach Tom Salter at the time at Culver City High School, and he literally told me, like, you're not going Pac-10. Well, at that time it was Pac-10, not Pac-12, but he said, you're not going Pac-10. You're going to an Ivy League school. You're too smart. And yeah. I just used to tell him, like, you're crazy. Like, all my friends are going to USC, Cal. I wanted to go to Cal. Like, that was the only school I wanted to go to. I wanted to go to Berkeley, and that was it. And he used to just tell me all the time, like, you're going to an Ivy League school. Like, you're made for this. And so I would say, like, around 9th, 10th grade is when I started to even think about it, because he used to tell me every single day. And I first got interest from, I want to say, Harvard and Princeton, and that's kind of what started to pique my interest. And from there, I kind of, I guess, warmed up to the idea of even going to an Ivy League school.
So you were entertaining the idea of education compared to how, because you just mentioned that, you owe it to your mom, you had a single mom. Did your mom instill education in you compared to what you see on the average African-American family or people you grow around with, where it was more, oh, you got to do sports or music for you to be successful?
So my favorite quote in life is about balance. And I think that's what my mom did the best, as far as kind of having me do sports and school. Mm-hmm. I think it was pushed equally.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it was prefaced as, this is what you like, the sports is what you like. Mm-hmm. So you have to treat that like business, but you have to treat this school stuff on that exact same level.
Mm-hmm.
So there was no one above the other. It was 1A and 1B.
Mm-hmm.
From the very beginning. I went to an elementary school called El Marino Language School in Culver City that taught me Japanese for 90% of the day.
Okay.
So I learned Japanese starting from kindergarten all the way through my 3rd year of college. I didn't take it my senior year in college, but I took it every single year of school.
Mm-hmm.
And I think starting me out in something like that, school became something that wasn't really a chore or a task for me. It was something that I actually enjoyed, and it was a challenge.
And that's really something amazing, because that's something I've talked about on our show several times. Since when I met Travon, I've really elaborated on the fact that I am nowhere or nothing today if not for education, if not for getting disciplined on a subject and honing down. And for someone who's come from Nigeria or outside the country, or an immigrant, I mean, you say you learn Japanese, and you probably understand that their culture is all about education, So it's amazing. Also, it's also encouraging to see a brother just saying education can take you places.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah,
I mean, I would say, I mean, it's no question, and that Columbia has opened doors for me that I probably would not have been able, to do things that I probably would not have been able to do if I didn't go there, or if I went to a different school,
Mm-hmm.
And it's not to say that any other school is not as good or anything like that as far as educationally, but Columbia, the name Columbia alone, holds so much weight.
Mm-hmm.
The things that I've learned outside of the classroom, just, being immersed in different cultures and around different people, even thinking on a higher level, I think Columbia offered me a lot of that.
Now, I think it's important for our listeners to understand, because what we're about on the Tie and Hoodie Show is introducing them to new things. And then it might not be like the cliche of new things or whatnot, but if they listen to our guests, there's something that's a core of all of them. All of them have stepped out of their boundaries. And for you to be taking Japanese in the first grade, second grade, or whatnot, all the way to the third year in college, and to be going to Ivy League schools, is something that we need to open up for our cultures. You know, it's not just Black. I'm talking about Asian, Samoan, Tongan, and Latino, Hispanic. It's important for us as parents and people like you and that's why we appreciate you coming on to share your stories, to be like, hey, you have to open up in order to gain access to success or doors of success. You can't get the doors of success if we're only knocking on one door. You got to you got to knock on as many doors as we can. And I think that's what happens when you ventured out, went to school like Columbia, learned Japanese, which is like, I'm honestly, I'm 40, I'm 43. I was like, that's unheard of. I've never even heard of a brother learning Japanese.
That's something by itself, because generally the second language, which is
Spanish,
normally Spanish. Why Japanese? Did you choose that, or was that choice made for you?
So my mom likes to say that she gave me the choice of Japanese and Spanish, but the truth is, because the school I went to, they taught either Japanese or Spanish. That was the path you took from kindergarten. So you picked one and you stuck with it all the way through 5th grade. So my mom likes to say that she gave me the choice, but really she chose it for me. She pretty much said, you know, Spanish is an easier language to learn. It's closer to English, right? So I can learn Spanish later in life if I choose to. Japanese is a lot harder to learn. And so letting me kind of get immersed into that early, I'd be able to, you know, open up the true brain power, you know, unlock the true brain power and be able to kind of grasp it a lot better if I started really young.
So we're going through the holidays right now. We're going through hard times, the pandemic and everything going on. What advice will you give anybody who's listening or watching this show on how to, you know, people who have lost their jobs or they're just down on their knees? What advice will you give them at this point?
I think, you know, take this downtime, you know, this time where, you know, we're forced inside to keep learning, you know. I think the best thing I did during this whole pandemic is kind of force myself to sit down and reevaluate everything. Do I know what I need to know? What can I learn to better myself, to better, you know, approach what I do? Because, you know, I mean, I work in sports marketing. Sports went away, you know? And so, you know, I had to figure out a new path, a new way for, you know, what I do, because there were no more, you know, in-person signings and events, you know, to have players at and stuff like that. So you have to be able to change with the climate, you know? And so, do you get knocked down? Yes, you just got to get back up, but you gotta make sure, I would say, taking the time to, you know, really just educate yourself even more, because you have that time, would be the number one thing I would say.
And Marquel, you're an athlete, so a lot of people as athletes, they just like athlete or bust. But you use your education from working out and being around athletes to go into a field to where you can use it as an expertise, because now you're not only learning about it, you know what you would want as an athlete. Can you talk a little bit about what you do and, you know, as far as what your company does and what got you to I don't want to, you know, put words in your mouth, what made you get into sports marketing?
Yeah, sure. I mean, as far as, you know, athlete or bust, I mean, I was never the strongest dude on the team. I was never the fastest dude on the team. I was the most prepared, I would say, most of the time.
Okay.
I made sure that I knew the playbook, you know what I'm saying, front to back, eyes closed. And I put myself in position to make plays, right? To where I didn't have to be faster than that dude. I didn't have to be stronger than that dude to make the play. And so I've never been fully focused on, I have to make it in the NFL or I'm done.
Yeah.
And then just, transferring over into, after sports, the way I got into it was simple. A lot of my friends made it to the next level.
Mm-hmm.
And I know how the business of football treats players and looks at players.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to be able to offer them a service that would help them maximize.
I think we lost our guest for a second, huh?
That was Marquel Carter.
Marquel Carter, yeah. So we have a little connection.
We have a little connection problem, but as people can see, is what we always talk about. The core of our guests is they always are trying to educate themselves.
Yeah.
They're always trying to learn more. They're always going beyond the call of duty when nobody's looking.
When nobody's looking. Exactly. I mean, see, I think one of the things that we keep saying over and over is you can only have excuses for so long.
Yeah.
You can only complain for so long. If you keep complaining and you have excuses and you don't do what you're supposed to do, then success is not going to come your way. It depends on how you define success, in that case. I love what he was saying. It's like, first of all, he blew me away because I don't remember that I heard anyone that says Japanese. I'm like, okay, yeah. I mean, talk about Spanish. Yeah, so that was number one, because that's a hard language to learn. Now that's one. And then another thing he said, which caught my attention, was I already knew that I'm not the fastest on the team. I'm not the best on the team, but I will outstudy everybody. So that tells me one thing. You have to really find out what you're going to be good at in an environment and hone down on it and be really good at it. And that will start opening doors for you as you go forward.
You have to, like we keep hitting the hammer on the nail. We got to stop making excuses in the community. We got to stop not being non-accountable. Like, look at yourself in the mirror. Tell yourself, first of all, what you want to be, what you're going to accomplish from the day, what you're going to accomplish from the week, what you're going to try to get done the month, what you're going to try to get done a year. And it all sounds it sounds like it can't be done, but there's nothing like writing down your goals and having them looking in your face, because you can write down 10 things and in a month you'll run across that note like, I haven't done none of this.
Yeah, a dream is a dream unless you write it down.
You feel bad to yourself.
Yeah, a dream is a dream unless you write it down. When you write it down, it becomes a goal. I mean, so just going back to another thing that he said here, it's like, he mentioned, and, give me 1 second. I think we have our guest coming back. Let me try and bring him back in here.
Yeah, it's the Time Hoodie Show. We're ready for everything.
Hey, welcome back.
Welcome back. We're ready for everything.
Sorry about that, guys. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, we lost it. I mean, we lost you for a second, but I was just actually reiterating some of the things that you said that really just kind of touched me for a second. I mean, a lot of people have this excuse. Oh, I was raised in a house where my dad wasn't around, my mom was on drugs, this excuse, that excuse. Everybody's got an excuse. Everybody has an excuse. There's nobody without an excuse. Whether you are the president of the United States or you're in Senate or you're a governor, everybody has an excuse. How do you rise from that excuse to achieve your goals?
I mean, obviously I can't speak on, anything more than my own situation. I grew up with, where, like I said, it was just me and my mother, but my mother provided more than enough, to where, I didn't feel like there was a lack, in any sense. I also have to give credit to sports, because I had that father figure in coaches.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of times, though, I can say people get caught up in kind of like what you're talking about, this woe is me, and they stop themselves from even believing that they can do these kind of things. So they harp on the negative because they don't even have the belief that the positive is even there. So I mean, the first step is just believing in yourself. And because you have to take that accountability at the end of the day, whether you come from a well-off family or not, you know, it's on you. Even more so when you're not from a well-off family. But either way, it's on you to make things happen. You have to push the needle. So it's true belief in self that you have to start with.
Hey, you hit everything perfectly right there. We just talked about that while we got disconnected with you. It's accountability. It starts with you. I kind of just want to go back and rewind a little bit because I think it's a lot of people out there who might be interested as far as college students and people like that. So I want to, like it's a lot of athletes that go through, we've met through some high profile athletes. That's how I got a chance to meet you. And a lot of athletes never reach those levels, or they reach it and it's real quick. It's just, like you were big for half a second and now you're not big anymore. So I want to go back to talking about, hey, this is what you can do. You can get into sports marketing. You can get into the business aspect. Because I was all ears when you were talking about you were helping athletes go through because you know what they go through. If you could, kind of expand on that a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, as a former athlete, you have a level of understanding that a lot of people in the sports industry don't have at all. Most of the people in the sports industry, the business side of it, are fans of the game. They didn't actually play it, so they can't connect with other players on the same level. And that's whether it's an agent, whether it's the person doing your marketing. You know what I mean? I mean, there's people that work in sales that work, for different teams. There's so many different jobs in sports that will keep you still involved in sports if that's what you love or want to do. That making it is not the end all be all. Yes, it probably makes the most amount of money, but you can still be tied to the sport you love and have a job in it easily.
And I honestly think that's important for people to hear that, because some people, they just think like, okay, this situation ended, and it may not be sports. We're just talking sports as far as this scenario. They think this situation ended, whether it could be a job or maybe they got kicked out of their apartment or whatnot, or even lost their home. Hey, you have to have a plan in place, not a B or C because you don't think A is not going to work, but you just have to have a plan in place. You know what I'm saying? It just to protect yourself and know what is out there. Like as far as what you're saying, hey, like if you could have been an athlete, great. But if not, hey, I'm gonna do sports marketing. I'm gonna do this, do that. And I think that's important for people to hear. It's not the end of the world for anything that does happen that you want at that time.
Yeah. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I mean, I have several friends that played on the highest level. I'm talking guys that played in the NFL or guys that played at top colleges, right? Two of my friends are agents. One of them started a company, actually. My friend Blake started a company. He went to Oregon, right? Played at Oregon, became an agent, and then started a company where his company makes or gives a platform for you to be able to make contracts on pretty much on the go. So it's an app you can put all the information in, and you can have a contract ready to send over to somebody. And that's something that he got from being an agent, from being in the sports world, right? So it's like you can see how the sports can take you into your next career, your next job, right? One of my friends played in the league, and now he does community relations for a team. So he gets to do what he loved, what he always wanted to do was be able to give back to his community. So he went back to his hometown and works for the hometown NFL team and does community relations with them. So he puts on camps for kids, has players come out to speak with, different charity events and stuff like that. So I definitely don't think it's the end all be all, like you're saying, and there's tons of opportunity for you to still be involved.
So your advice, I mean, somebody who's been through the process, who's here now, is we know sports is what got me here to America. I was on track and field. I never even thought in my wildest dream that I was going to come out here and be on a scholarship to go to college for free. never even thought about it. And we were just, it was easier and quicker to run from point A to point B than to wait for a taxi. That was the reason why. So it was just like run. And
That's the realest thing I've heard on this show.
That's real.
just run, So, and some guys saw me running and said, "Hey, you should come run at the stadium. I mean, this is probably going to change, help you out." And before you know it, I'm in the U.S., on a track scholarship. So we know that sports is an outlet for a lot of African Americans, right? One thing I want you to tell our audience is, yes, go into that, but how can you now start from day one planning your outlets? Not let that be your end all be all, and if the world shuts you down, like for me, in my freshman year in college, I had a muscle tear, and I thought my life was over, and I had to go from saying, okay, well, this C's that I'm having in the class is not going to work. I need to upgrade and go back to A's, because I thought I was going to go to the Olympics and become a world-class, sprinter. That ended in semester one. So how can you, knowing all of this, advise our listeners, those who are in sports, have an outlet,
Yeah, use sports as an avenue, use sports as an avenue to something else. Make sure that you have a plan, like you said. When I work with players, especially like the rookie guys, when they come in, the first thing I ask them is like, congratulations on making it. What else do you want to do? Or what else do you like? Let's start to cultivate and develop that, while you're playing. Let's utilize your stardom. Let's utilize this space you're in right now to help build towards what you want to do later. Because as you said, you're one play away every time. You're one play away. So the best thing you can do is use where you're at right now to help prepare you for where you want to be at in your future.
You get it. That's what they get right here every week on the Tie and Hoodie show. You get that testimony, that personal growth. It leads you to a better place. But before we get out of here, Mr. Marquel, go ahead and give them the information, whatever information you need to give them. If they want to contact you, just so they might be a fan of your story. They might be upcoming sports. This is the city of angels. There's a lot of athletes out there that need that advice. Go ahead and give the information you need to give them.
Yeah, sure. My Instagram is Culver City Carter. So you can definitely, send me a DM and we can have a conversation about it for sure. I think that's all really I got for you. But
okay.
What I will say is I'll leave out on my other favorite quote, other than life is about balance, is be comfortable being uncomfortable.
Oh yeah, come on. Hey, that's the key.
That's my thing.
That's the key. Hey, always be ready to be uncomfortable, because it's the good things that happen. All my best days I've ever had, I got up and did something I didn't feel like doing, and we could talk about that on a whole nother show. But we definitely will have you back sometime in the future, man. I appreciate your time this morning, for hanging out with us. The Tie and Hoodie Show. We're here every Sunday morning, 6:30 to 7 a.m. K-Day. If you missed parts of this show, I'm telling you, you must hear it, or any of our past shows at tieandhoodieshow.com. All sponsored by ICClending.com, where real estate and its business is done right. Mr. Marquel, we appreciate your time, and definitely it's a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Love what you guys are doing, man.
And I'm going to be reaching out to you because I got a 4-year-old and an 8-year-old that are crazy about football. I try to talk them out of it, but they're like, nope, Dad. So they're going to get helmets for Christmas now, So thank you so much.
Well, we'll show them the injury numbers. Maybe we'll be able to change their mind.
I appreciate you, brother.
Thank you so much.
All right, you guys have a good one.
Hey, do you have valuable information that can help your community?
Okay.
And you'd like to be a guest? Hit us on our social media.
Do it now.
The Tie and Hoodie Show is sponsored by ICClending.com. For real estate service, please go to ICClending.com.